that we have a good foundation going into quarter 4. So if you're still confused from last week or you didn't even get much done last week, this hopefully will help you. So moving forward, we're ready. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at are our formulas. To find the area of a circle, you take pi 3.14. Remember, that's an irrational number. It goes on forever. So you take pi times the radius squared. To find the circumference of a circle, you take pi, that's that 3.14, times the diameter. So let's make sure that we feel comfortable with what those things are. Let's take a look at this circle right here and review some of our vocab. So I said radius first. That is the distance from the center of the circle to any spot on the circle. So that would be considered a radius. That's a radius. That's a radius. My lines aren't very straight, but you get the idea. The diameter of a circle still goes through the center, but it goes all the way through across the circle. So if you know what your radius is, the diameter is twice that distance. Now, when I say I want to know the circumference of a circle, that's this distance around. If I was to take a string and put it all the way around the circle and then measure how long that string was, that is the circumference. The area of a circle is the space inside. So how much fits inside the circle is the area. So I think we're ready to go ahead and get started. Some of the problems that we did last week just simply asked us to find the circumference of a circle. Now, whenever I'm doing circle problems, I use this strategy called CARD. So I write CARD upside down, C-A-R-D, and that just helps me organize the information I have. So this 4 centimeters right here goes from the center to the circle. So that's the radius. And then that means, even though they don't tell me what the diameter is, that means I can find it, because if this distance is 4, if I go another 4, that would be 8 centimeters. Now this is only asking me to find the circumference. So circumference and diameter go together. And the formula was pi times the diameter. So if your calculator has a pi button, you can press that. Otherwise, you can always just use 3.14. That's a common number that we round to use. So if I type in the pi button times 8, some calculators just say 8 pi. Oops. And that would be, if I labeled it centimeters, that would be my exact answer. It uses the pi symbol, or it leaves the pi symbol in my answer. But most of the time, we actually calculate it through and get a decimal answer. And so that would be 25.1. And then it keeps going, and it doesn't repeat. So I'm going to round my answer, and I'm just going to round to the nearest hundredth. It says 25.132. So I'm going to round it to 13 centimeters. And that is my answer for finding the circumference of the circle. It didn't ask about the area, so I'm not worried about it. Let's go ahead and try another problem. Whoa, didn't mean to do that. This time it wants the area. So I'm still going to use that C-A-R-D strategy. I look at the circle and figure out what information they gave me. They gave me the diameter, which is 6 centimeters. The diameter goes all the way across, and the radius just goes half that distance. So if I think about what's half of 6, it would be 3 centimeters. Now, I always do this. I draw my brackets. The radius goes with the area. The diameter goes with the circumference. So I remember which one goes with which. And both of the formulas start with pi. Okay, so the area is pi r squared. So pi times 3 squared. Another way of saying that is pi times 3. Sorry, my stylus isn't working very good. Times 3 times 3. So if I typed that on my calculator, some of your calculators leave it in terms of pi. It would just say 9 pi centimeters squared. That would be one exact answer. Otherwise, if you actually calculate it out, you would get 28.27 centimeters squared. And we always label our answers for area problems units squared. Now, the circumference would be pi times the diameter, but it didn't ask for that. It just asked for the area, so I'm good to go. If I look at this problem, it says find the circumference and the area. So I'm going to complete the entire part of card. And sometimes it's helpful to draw the circle if they didn't for you. So here's a circle. The diameter is this, 4.8. So if I go to card, I would put 4.8 inches for the diameter, which means the radius is half of that, so 2.4 inches. The radius goes with the area. The diameter goes with the circumference. You can look in your notebook for those formulas. The area is pi times r squared, and the circumference is pi times the diameter. So now I'm just going to use my calculator. Pi times 2.4 squared. If you can't find the squared button, then you would type pi times 2.4 times 2.4. And then I'm going to round my answer. 18.095. So it's actually going to go up to 1, 0. And this is inches squared. The circumference is going to be pi times 4.8. 15.079, so that's going to round up to 0.8 inches. Now notice that my area I labeled inches squared and my circumference I labeled inches. Let's try one more together. It says find the circumference and area of a circle with a radius of 3.7 inches. So I'm going to do card. And the radius is 3.7 centimeters. Now, if you're feeling pretty comfortable with this, why don't you pause the video and try and work this out on your own? If you would still like more practice with me, then just keep working with me. If the radius is 3.7, the diameter is 2 of those. So 3.7 times 2 is 7.4 centimeters. So now I have enough information to finish card. The area is going to be pi times 3.7 squared. The circumference is going to be pi times 7.4. I got 43.00 or 008, so I'm going to round it to 0.1. And that would be centimeters squared. That's my area. And pi times 7.4 is 23.25 centimeters. Now, if you're getting your answers really close to mine, but you're rounding a little bit different, that's okay. We're not as concerned about rounding as we are the process is figuring out how to find the area and the circumference. All right.